Greetings, beautiful people. I just had an amazing conversation with Jason Bassler and Matt Agorist from the Free Thought Project podcast. They're going to be releasing the full chat soon on their platform, but I had some clips that I wanted to share with you guys early. So I hope you enjoy these. Please go follow, if you're not already, go follow Jason and Matt and the Free Thought Project so that you can see the full podcast episode when it comes out.
He says, but the disconnect here is that I also advocate for that. Almost everyone committing or commenting does. You guys pretend that you're the only pure ones. This isn't an either or. Abolish all public schools, ! In the meantime, don't let crazy drug addicts or anyone who's not faculty or students into spaces for children. There's no contradiction or violation of libertarianism here. It's just not being insane.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Dave, insane is another item on his list of things that are just not arguments. So we can't even, like if I wanted to rebut what he just said, I am unable to, because it's just his opinion on how sane something is. Like, I don't care. I can't respond to that. You're not right or wrong. You just said nothing. Okay. Like philosophically, logically, you said literally nothing. Yeah, exactly. It's not truth apt is what a philosopher would say. Right. So, should public property have no restrictions? When you talk about it in terms of populations and collectives and the language he uses, it frames it in a way where most people go right to their feels. I don't want fucking crackheads around my kids when they go to school. So, boom, he won. He won in the framing. But that's not how property rights disputes are resolved. That's not how libertarian consent and property works. How it would work according to libertarian principle, there would be arbitration. Dave would be the complainant. He would be, in his public school with his kid, and there'd be a crackhead there smoking up in the corner. And he would be like, arbitrator, I'd like to open a case. I object to this homeless man's use of this unowned property or this public school property or this government property. And the arbitrator would say, that's nice. So who are you suing over this complaint? Dave would be like, well, I'll sue the government. The libertarian arbitrator would say, well, I'm sorry, the government is an invalid entity. They own nothing. You can't really sue them. They're just a cartel of thugs. And Dave would be like, oh, no. Okay, well, I'll sue the homeless dude. Arbitrator would be like, oh, okay. Well, what are your damages? Dave would be like, well, I don't like what they're doing, and my kids are here, and he's distracting the class or something, And the arbitrator would be like, well, I'm sorry, I asked what your damages were. And then Dave would be like, well, okay, maybe I'm not suing anybody. I'm just going to have him physically removed if he doesn't leave. And I want to give him the chance to leave before we get to that. The arbitrator would be like, oh, well, wow, okay, we're escalating things. Who are you going to have remove him, Dave? Dave would be like, well, government agents. Arbitrator would be like, sir, again, that's a criminal cartel. Having them use more stolen resources, the thing that you're claiming gives you a say in that property, having them use more stolen resources to do that would be you becoming a co-conspirator with them. So you become the bad guy. They would be like, oh, fine. Okay, I'll remove him myself then. Arbitrator would be like, oh, okay. Well, what's your standing in the matter of this property? Because you can't just bring a case without standing. What's your standing to be a complainant over this public school property? Dave would be like, well, I was stolen from, and $1 out of the $100 million used to build this building is mine, and I'm going to exert collective control over it. The arbitrator would be like, oh, so you'd like your restitution in the form of ownership over a piece of this property? Which specific 1 by 1 square inch part of this building are you claiming? Dave would be like, well, no. I'm instituting democratic control, which commingles the restitution claims of all the other theft victims in some kind of constructive trust. We then get to vote to control all government property, including this that we're standing on. Arbitrator would be like, oh, wow, that must have been quite an endeavor. Dave Smith would be like, what? Arbitrator would be like, contacting everyone that's been taxed and getting their consent and their signature agreeing to collectivize their claims for return of stolen money and convert it into shares of control over property. How on earth did you get every single person's signature? Dave would be like, what? Arbitrator would be like, I mean, if every single person doesn't consent or even later withdraws their consent, the whole thing falls apart. You don't get to force democratic control of people's stolen property onto them in violation of their consent. So you must have like managed to get literally everyone's consent, right? You did do that, right? They would be like, what? Arbitrator, you have little to no standing for this complaint. Your demand for restitution violates property rights of millions of people. You can either select your one by one square inch section of this school and institute all the borders you want inside that little inch. And if that's not satisfactory, I'm afraid we're done here. Have a nice day. That's how libertarian principles arbitrate these property disputes. You don't get, when you make these grand collectivized claims that involve people crossing the border and everybody in public schools and government, like this obfuscates the property ownership, the title to property, and how it's adjudicated. This is just nonsense, but it's great rhetoric. It convinces tons of people. It's just nonsense. You don't have everybody's consent, but you would need it to do something like this. All right. Fucking end of rant.
Dude, that was fucking pure gold right there, man. I feel like you've fucking been rehearsing that, and you just did it flawlessly executed. I'm impressed, man.
No, I've been doing it for years. That's the difference. I've been doing. People attack me, and they even made some stupid accusation that it's only after Dave attacked Israel and the Jews that I'm attacking him. I've been doing this and thinking about this and rebutting his ideas on borders for years. This is not new. These are all old arguments. They're just unaddressed and ignored. So anyway, thank you for giving me the chance to put them out there again.